much of the waste we see at the consumer level is a manifestation of what happens in the supply chain or the value chain before it reaches the consumer. We see food waste as a symptom of underlying issues. Each of those underlying issues have their own costs associated with them, and they're often worth more than the actual food itself. So for instance, if you look at an iceberg, what you see at the tip of the iceberg is the food waste, like the apple for example. What you don't see is all the waste associated with the apple, which are energy, labour, infrastructure, everything that went into harvesting the crop.
So how does packaging help reduce food waste? Number one is to help to protect the product. Number two is to help extend the shelf life of that product. And number three is acting as a medium to help communicate the messaging with consumers on how to better store food. A classic example of how packaging extends shelf life is the cucumber. An unwrapped cucumber on shelf typically lasts an average of 3 days, whereas a wrapped cucumber can last on shelf for up to 14 days.
This is an example of a large-scale vegetable processing line with separation, washing, dewatering, drying, and cooling. There's elements of waste through the line right here where the vacuum separator that removes the water from the leafy greens has overflow and the conveyors don't meet well and the product falls on the floor creating waste.
So P&P Optica's chemical imaging technology is a vision system that can see the chemical composition of materials. And those materials include food. We've been working with a number of food processors, largely in Ontario, and they've been presenting challenges to us, which a variety of those actually feed into the food waste problem.
And if you can see a chemical challenge that's within there with an instrument that you can't see with the naked eye, that's an opportunity to reduce waste. Retailers are moving towards sustainability on a level that is probably equal to the food safety shift that happened about 10 years ago. I see waste everywhere, in every industry, and there's varying degrees of it, but they're all opportunities. One of the most common things you see in a food processing plant is food waste that hits the floor. It's no longer edible, gets swept up and thrown in the garbage. That's an easy first best that you can correct. Instead of just ignoring it, change the culture to identify those.
If a retailer looks to sell 10 apples and has shrink of 3, so it loses 3 apples, they have a 70% margin. If a retailer sells 8 apples and one of them goes to waste, then they have a 87.5% margin. In an industry where slim margins are our daily experience, a 20% almost difference in margin is significant.
There's a real dichotomy when someone says food waste to me. I want to say stop, it's surplus food. It's great food. Last year we picked up over 8 million pounds of nutrient-dense food.
You have to have solid metrics before you can do, before you can do anything. So really understanding what happens at each part of the production cycle, whether you're very small and you have 1 or 2 steps, or you're big and you have 5 steps or whatever. Ultimately, the toolkit's a guide, and it really is a bit of a hand holder. It'll help take them through each of the steps, from quantifying how much food waste they're generating and where, to determining the root causes of this food waste. Also then identifying solutions, and then helping them to pick the solutions by ranking them, helping them to implement things, and then finally helping them to monitor what the impact of these changes are.